Okay, so up to now we have discussed different type of materials, like first is your insulator, next semiconductor. These are the basic material found in the universe, and third one is your conductor. I have also discussed the example of each of this type material. Insulator example is your wood, semiconductor example is your silicon and germanium, conductor example is copper wire, like that. Okay, now in the case of the semiconductor, what happens? The charge carriers concentration. Charge carrier concentration means charge carrier is actually responsible for generation of current within the materials. So charge carrier concentration is represented by N, and it is represented by per unit volume. So what is the number of charge carriers per unit volume that is responsible for the current conduction inside the semiconductor. Now in the case of the insulator, the maximum number of charge carrier is 10 to the power 6, though it is not possible in the insulator to provide the any amount of energy that can provide the current through the insulator, but you can say that the boundary of it is which is the lowest charge carrier that can reside inside the semiconductor, and the highest charge carrier is 10 to the power 21. Now this range of charge carrier inside the semiconductor is very much high. That means by means of some kind of technology you can modify the concentration of charge carrier within the semiconductor. So what happens, if you can modify the charge carrier concentration within the semiconductor, then you can modify the current within the semiconductor. Now if you can modify the current within the semiconductor, then you can make different kind of things out of this semiconductor. Now the minimum value of charge carrier inside the conductor is 10 to the power 21. Now in the case of the conductor, what happens, you cannot modify the charge carriers inside the conductor, because itself the charge carrier is very much huge inside the conductor. Okay, so that thing we are also discussed. Now next thing we also discussed in the previous class is that, and also there is a band gap energy. Now the band gap energy is represented by Eg. Now what is the band gap energy? I am just writing the value here. Band gap energy is greater or equal to 5 electron volt in insulator, and the band gap energy of semiconductor is less than 5 electron volt, and band gap energy is conductor is actually 0. Okay, that means there is no band gap inside the conductor. Now what do you mean with the band gap energy of the material? Now whenever we discuss the band diagram, formation of the band diagram, how band diagram actually forms, there is a two type of band. One band is your conduction band, and second one is your valence band. Now okay, now conduction band is the increasing energy and valence band is the decreasing energy. That means the energy level in the valence band is lower than the conduction band. Now the conduction band energy, minimum of the conduction band energy is represented by EC. That means if the band is represented like this is valence band, this is conduction band, so you can easily identify that the energy here is less and energy here is high. Okay, and also this level, minimum of the conduction band is represented by EC, and the maximum of the valence band is represented by EV. So this is EV, and the gap between this is represented by Eg. This is the band gap energy. Now I have written in the previous slide that the band gap energy is insulator is very much high, so high amount of energy required to elevate an electron from valence band to conduction band, and that is quite impossible in the case of the insulator. But in the semiconductor, the band gap energy is quite less than 5 electron volt, it is almost equal to 1 to 2 electron volt, that is very much less. So with a sufficient amount of energy you can elevate an electron from valence band to the conduction band, and in the case of the conductor there is no band gap. So band gap is actually represented by EC minus EV. Okay, so this is the concept of the band gap and the value of the band gap. Next, the classification of the semiconductor. Now whenever we discuss the classification of the semiconductor, first semiconductor is here, I am writing the classification, pure semiconductor. Okay, so first one is your pure semiconductor. Now pure semiconductor is the type of semiconductor in which first point is no impurity atom. Impurity means foreign particle, no impurity atom. Okay, and second one is your no crystal defect. no crystal defect. These are the two property that has to be satisfied if we call a semiconductor a pure semiconductor. Now no impurity means atoms which are not desired, atoms which not desired, that atom we do not want inside the semiconductor. That means if there is a silicon semiconductor, we do not want any kind of atom other than silicon. If any kind of foreign particle, that means the boron particle somehow found inside the semiconductor, then it is said to be impurity. So that impurity we do not want inside the pure semiconductor. Now no crystal defect. Crystal defect means suppose a crystal is formed something like that. So this is the atomic edges of a crystal structure. So suppose this is a crystal structure, okay, like this, okay. So this is the crystal structure, okay. So this is the crystal structure. Now what happens, this is the atoms, this is the atoms, this is one atom, this is one atom deciding each of the edges. Now what happens, if one atom is displaced from its position, then the atomic arrangement, regular atomic arrangement is disrupted. So we can say there is a crystal defect, okay. So that is called the crystal defect. So if any kind of semiconductor we call a pure semiconductor, that two property has to be satisfied. So there is no impurity atom should be reside inside the semiconductor, and there is no crystal defect, okay. Now next we have also discussed the concept of hole. Now what is the concept of hole? There is a charge carrier inside the semiconductor. One charge carrier is called electron. All of you know the electron. Electron is a negatively charged particle which is a finite amount of mass, okay. It has a negative charge and it has got a finite amount of mass. So that we all know. So how electron can reside within the atom? So suppose there is a nucleus. So suppose there is a carbon nucleus or carbon atom. So arrangement of the carbon atom is something like that: 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, okay. So there is a 2 electron residing here, and then this is principal quantum number 1, this is principal quantum number 2, okay. So 4 electron residing here. Now this is called the valency electron in the outermost shell, that is called the valency electrons. Now what happens, the maximum number of electrons that can reside in the outermost shell, I have said that maximum 8 electron can reside in the outermost shell, and out of which only 4 electron can reside here. Now what is a hole? Hole is the absence of electrons. Absence of electrons means suppose this is an electron. Now if this electron is removed from here, so there is a vacancy being created here, and this vacancy is called the hole. Now if the electron is removed from here, then we can assume that when electron becomes free from the atom, electron removed means when electron becomes free from the atoms, that means electron is elevated from valence band to the conduction band. If one electron is elevated from the valence band to the conduction band, then empty space is being created in the valence band and one electron is coming here. So this empty space is called the hole, okay. Now electron and holes are created in pairs, that means electron hole pair. That means if there is a one electron is being elevated from valence band to the conduction band, you can see there is a hole is being created. That means here is electron generation, here is a hole generation. So that is called the electron hole pair generation, okay. So electrons and holes are generated in pairs in a pure semiconductor, okay. So I have also discussed what do you mean by the impurity atom, what is the mean by the crystal defect, what is a hole, how atoms are arranged inside them, electrons are arranged inside an atom, how the atomic arrangement is something like that, and what is the hole and how is concept of hole is being implemented, okay. Next, in the intrinsic semiconductor. Now what happens in the case of the intrinsic semiconductor? In the case of the intrinsic semiconductor, so I am writing down the intrinsic semiconductor. So in the case of the intrinsic semiconductor, the definition or the criteria that should match to call a semiconductor intrinsic is that no impurity, but there is no impurity. There should be no impurity, but there might be crystal defect. That can This is actually possible. Actually pure semiconductor is not possible to fabricate, because how well your fabrication technology is, there must be a possibility that some amount of crystal defect must present inside the crystal structure. So what happens, pure semiconductor is not easy to fabricate. That's why we introduce the concept of intrinsic semiconductor. So in the case of the intrinsic semiconductor, to qualify an intrinsic semiconductor, no impurity atoms should be present, and there must be some crystal defect. There must be some crystal defect. Okay, but in the case of the pure semiconductor, there should be no impurity and no crystal defect. But here we modify, if the pure semiconductor is not practically possible, so that's why we modify the concept and there should be crystal defect, so that we call that a intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so all of the property of the pure semiconductor can be applied here. So concept of electron and hole can be applied here. That means if one electron is elevated from valence band to the conduction band, hole is being created, electron is being generated here, and simultaneously if one electron is coming here, so hole is being annihilated, and there is a process. This process is called the generation, electron generation, electron hole pair generation, and this process is called the recombination. Okay, that means electron and hole are being recombined. That means hole, there is no existence of hole being here, because electrons are taking its place. Okay, so there is a generation, there is a recombination. So that these two terms is important: electron hole pair generation and electron hole pair recombination. So electron hole are generated in pair, that you understand, and also there is a concept of generation and there is a concept of recombination. Okay, and also there is another concept. Suppose there is a conduction band, sorry, there is a valence band, there is a conduction band. So one electron to this is the band gap. Okay, now if to elevate that electron from valence band to conduction band, this is the higher energy, so you must provide some amount of energy, you must provide some amount of energy to equal to the, almost equal to the, greater than or equal to the band gap energy. This is the band gap energy, so you must provide that amount of energy to elevate an electron from the valence band to the conduction band. Now what happens if this electron, if this electron after coming here wants to come here? Okay, because all of the electron, this is higher amount of energy, electron cannot decide at the high amount of energy for all the time, it will ultimately come down to the lower energy state. So if these electrons comes to the lowest energy state, then this amount of energy will be released from here, this amount of energy equal to the band gap energy will be released from here, and the electron and hole will be recombined. So this is the generation process where you provide the energy, there is a recombination process where you get the energy, back the energy. So this is the energy conservation principle. This is very simple. Now as the electron and hole is being generated in pairs, so in the case of the intrinsic semiconductor, this is the electron concentration at the thermal equilibrium, and this is the hole concentration at the thermal equilibrium, 0 for thermal equilibrium. So this will be almost equal to N0 equal to P0. So the number of electron concentration equal to number of holes concentration, because both are generated in pairs. Okay, now in the case of the intrinsic semiconductor, if you look at the structure, I have also discussed this, the structure. This is silicon. So silicon has the first valency, silicon, the valency is 4, outermost shell of the every silicon atom contains 4 electrons. Now what happens in the case of the covalent bond structure, this is the neighboring silicon atom with this silicon atom. Okay, this is a small portion of an total crystal structure. So this silicon atom got 4 electrons, this is 4 electrons, this silicon atom also got 4 electrons, this silicon atom also got 4 electrons, this silicon atom also got 4 electrons, like this. In the case of the covalent bond structure, what happens? So these 2 electrons will combine like this. So in the case of the 0 Kelvin temperature, condition is 0 Kelvin temperature, what happens? The every silicon atoms in the outermost shell contains 8 electrons, provided the temperature is 0 Kelvin. So this silicon atom is actually inactive, that means no current is possible out of this semiconductor. Now if we increase the energy equal to the band gap energy, now what happens? This bond breaks, one of the bond breaks, and electron will become free and hole is being generated here, and there is a, this electron comes to the conduction band and there is a flow of current. Okay, so this is the concept of the intrinsic semiconductor, and this is the covalent bond structure. One covalent bond structure is breaks, electron is being generated, and holes is also being generated, and both are generated in pairs. Okay, now in the case of the extrinsic semiconductor, what do you mean by the extrinsic semiconductor? Now in the case of the extrinsic semiconductor, the property should be says that impurities is added. Here the impurities are added. Okay, impurities means foreign particle, to increase electron or hole concentration. Now how this happens? So in the case of the extrinsic semiconductor, somehow electron concentration is greater than hole concentration, or maybe hole concentration is greater than electron concentration, because we have added the impurity atom to increase the electron and hole concentration. Okay, so intrinsic nature is being violated. If the electron is higher, you call is n type. If the hole is higher, you call is p type. This is as simple as that. And now the structure is something, if this structure, silicon structure is something like this. Okay, if the structure is something like this, then what happens? This is the silicon atom present each of the edges. Now if one of the silicon atom is displaced and we replace these silicon atoms with the other type of atom like the boron atom, not all the silicon atoms, some of the atoms inside the crystal, or the phosphorus atom, then this structure is become n type or the p type semiconductor. Okay, if we insert inside the semiconductor or the intrinsic semiconductor group 5 element like phosphorus, okay, then one it becomes n type, and if we insert inside the semiconductor group 3 element like boron, then it becomes p type semiconductors. Okay, and silicon itself is group 4 element, because outermost cell is 4 electrons. Now group 5 means outermost cell electrons is 5, group 3 means outermost cell electron is 3. Okay, so as this the number of electrons is 3, so this structure is not being formed if this is silicon. In the case this is boron, so it has 3 electrons, so one bond is vacant here. So that's why in the case of the boron, if we insert inside the semiconductor boron, then one hole is being created, because there is an absence of electron. 3 electrons cannot make bond with 4 neighboring silicon atom. And in the case of the group 5 element, if we make the covalent bond with the silicon, then one electron is excess. So excess electrons is being created, and here hole is being created. So here electron is being created, here hole is being created. So if the electron concentration is higher, we call is n type. If hole concentration is higher, we call it p type. As simple as that. And also we have make some amount of example that so I am just drawing the one diagram so that you can easily identify that. Okay, so p type semiconductor, so this is boron. Okay, so this is silicon, this is silicon, this is silicon, this is silicon. Silicon has 4, boron has 3. So this bond is supposed to complete one electron contribution by both atom. This is complete, but what happens, this hand is complete but this hand is vacant. So there is a one electron is missing here, because boron has 3 electron in its outermost cell. Okay, so this is the contribution of hole. And also in the case of the phosphorus also same thing happens. So one boron atom contributing one hole, and one phosphorus atom contributing 1 electron. That is the structure. Now in the case of the boron atom, these boron atoms is called the acceptor atoms. It has got the name acceptor atoms, and the concentration of inside the structure is represented by Na. That is the, if we dope the semiconductor with boron, if they dope the semiconductor with phosphorus, so it is called the donor atom, because it is donating 1 electron. So its concentration is Nd. Okay, and Ni is called the intrinsic concentration of the electron and the hole. Okay, so this space can absorb 1 electron. This electron can come here, so hole is being created here. Suppose these electrons, okay, so these electrons comes here and makes the bond complete. So one hole is being created. So hole is moving like this. So hole can move. Physically it do not move. Actually electron move, but you can also relate that hole can also move, because free space or the vacant space is moving from this direction to that direction. Okay. So one holes or the vacancy can absorb one electron. So I am not drawing the phosphorus atom. Phosphorus is same. So it okay, I'm just drawing. This is phosphorus. So this is silicon, 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 silicon. This bond is complete, 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 complete. In spite of that, one electron is being excess. So that's why it is called the donor atom. Okay. And also the amount of energy this electron, free electron with the phosphorus atom, this is the energy that is connects with the core nucleus, bond with the nucleus. That energy is very, very much less. So if you provide a very less amount of energy, these electrons will become free. Okay. But if you want to provide the break this bond, you want to provide a high amount of energy than to free these electrons. So these electron can free very easily than these bonding electrons. Okay. So that's why it is contributing more number of electrons to the system. Okay. Next, in the current in the semiconductor. So there are different type of currents inside the semiconductor. So first current is the diffusion current. Next is the drift current. So in the case of the diffusion current, and there is a current called drift current. So diffusion current is actually current movement of particles or the charged particles. Okay, movement of charged particle from high concentration to low concentration. So this is the definition of the diffusion, and the drift definition of movement of charge, movement of charge carriers due to electric field or the application of voltage, anything you can say, due to the electric field or the application of voltage. Both hole and electron can move in any of the case. So first one is the diffusion current. So in the case of the diffusion current, what happens that, so diffusion current, I am first discussing the diffusion current. Okay. So in the case of the diffusion current, charge carriers move from high concentration to low concentration. Now you have to make it non-uniform doping to make the concentration gradient inside the semiconductor. So the flux is number of charge per unit time. Okay. So flux of charge carriers, so number of charge carriers per unit time, that is the flux. So that is proportional to the concentration, dc divided by dx, rate of change of concentration with distance. This is called the concentration gradient. This is called the concentration gradient. So I will show you how it happens. Rate of change of concentration per unit distance. So current is actually represented in semiconductor is current density in the current per unit volume, area. So current is represented by per unit area. So that is the current. Current is density is represented by J. So J is actually proportional to E into flux. E is the charge carrier. Okay. So that is also proportional to something like this, dc divided by dx. Okay. So this is actually not equal. This is, you can say, proportional. Okay. Proportionality. So currents inside the semiconductor is represented by J, current density. Current density unit is ampere per meter square per unit area. Okay. So here if you just omit this proportionality, then equal to sign, then you have to make a proportionality constant. Okay. So E d dc divided by dx. This is the proportionality constant, or the called the diffusion coefficient. Okay. This is called the diffusion coefficient. Now how this diffusion current is actually happens? Now the diffusion current is actually happens, suppose there is a region. Okay. And there is a region, so there is a high concentration of charge. So charge carriers is concentration increases from here to here. This is concentration increases with x, concentration increases x in that direction. Okay, so as the concentration increases in that direction, that means low concentration, high concentration. So how diffusion happens? Electron will move from high to low in that direction, and in the basic property of the current, current will opposite of the electrons flow. So this is the flow due to the current, due to the electrons. So this is x equal to L, x equal to 0. Okay. So diffusion current, current density, Jn the current density due to the electron flow, Dn is the diffusion constant. So Jn diffusion, you can call it E into Dn into dc divided by dx greater than 0. Okay, so dc divided by dx is greater than 0. It is increasing in positive x direction. Okay. It is increasing in positive x direction. Okay. And current is also flowing in positive x direction. Now in the case, what happens in the case of hole? So this is the concentration, this is the higher concentration. So concentration is also increasing in that direction. Okay, holes is actually moving in that direction, and current is also flowing in the direction of positive charge. It is being assumed. So Jp diffusion due to the hole is nothing but current is moving in negative x direction, so there is a negative sign, E into dp into dc divided by dx. Concentration is also increasing in positive x direction, but current is flowing in the negative x direction. That's why this is the negative sign. And the charge of this is E, and this is dp, and this is dc divided by dx. Okay, so this is the diffusion current due to holes. This is the diffusion current due to electrons. Okay, so this is the diffusion current and the drift current equation. In the diffusion current equation due to electrons and due to holes. In the case of the drift current, drift current I have said that happens due to the movement of charge carriers due to the flow of electric field. So it is represented by, there is a velocity. Okay, if you apply electric field, charge carrier will move. So there is a called the drift velocity, term called drift velocity. Okay, that is represented by Vd, and this is also equated by mu into E. Mu is the mobility, E is the electric field. Okay, mobility unit is centimeter square volt second. Okay, and electric field unit is volt per centimeter. Okay. So J drift is actually represented by, now if the electron, there is an electron, if we apply electric field in that direction, okay, so electron will flow in that direction and the current will flow in that direction. So that is the simple logic, and why the electron, that has been experimentally proved. Okay, so if there is an, I am repeating, there is an electron, if we apply electric field in that direction, positive x direction, then electron will flow in that direction, and consequently current will flow in the positive x direction. So that's why whenever you write the J drift current equation, so that is in concentration of carrier into electron charge E into mu n into E. So this is the equation, and positive sign is because current is moving in the positive x direction. So this is the equation, and don't worry about the derivation, just memorize the equation. In the case of electron, hole, if there is a hole and if you apply electric field in that direction, so hole will also move in that direction, current will flow in the direction of hole or the positive charge. So this is Jp drift. So Jp drift is nothing but P into E into mu P into E. Okay, so this is the equation for the P is the hole concentration and N is the electron concentration here. Okay, so J drift is the total current J drift, total current is Jp plus Jn due to the hole and electrons. So if you just write down the equation, N into E into mu N into E plus P into E into mu P into E, and if you just N into mu N plus P into mu P into V. So this is the equation for the drift, both are positives, and according to the Ohm's law, current density is equal to conductivity into electric field. So if you just equate both these two, so this is equal to this. Okay, so this and this you can easily calculate, no problem about that. And also the drift current I have also discussed, the diffusion current. So diffusion current due to the electrons and due to the holes, this is the holes, so holes is drift current is assumed as diffusion current is written as, in the case of the electrons, E into dN into dc divided by dx, and in the case of the hole, it is with a negative sign. So it is dp, proportionality constant. Okay, so this is all about the semiconductor and the their current equation. Thank you.